And then when I was in medical school, I was learning how to do bypass surgery with Dr. Michael DeBakey, who was the pioneer. You're probably not old enough to remember, but he was the pioneering surgeon who basically invented bypass surgery. And so we cut people open, we bypass their clogged arteries, and he'd tell them they were cured. And more often than not, they'd go home and do all the things that had caused the problem in the first place. Eat junk food and not manage stress and smoke and not exercise and so on. And often the new bypasses would clog up and they come back and we cut them open again, sometimes multiple times. And so for me, bypass surgery became a metaphor of an incomplete approach. We're literally bypassing the problem without also treating the cause.
Now, let me interrupt you because at that point in your medical education, were you taught or trained the causes of the heart disease? Were you aware of the causes?
No, I was aware because I went to these places they used to call libraries, and they had these things called books and journals.
I've never seen one. What is that?
I just got obsessed with it. Like, in dogs and cats and pigs and rabbits and monkeys, you could cause them to get heart disease if you put them under emotional stress or force them to smoke or put them on a typical American diet or made them sedentary. And you could reverse it if you change those. I said, so why should people be any different? I was a second year medical student at the time. And
so you became obsessed on your own to learn the cause.
On my own. That's right.
Yeah.
Because of my own experience with how powerful these things were in my own life. And so, and I want to emphasize again that drugs and surgery can be life-saving when used appropriately. As we've all benefited from that. But at best, in the case of heart disease, they buy you time. They don't really treat the cause. And when you get put on drugs to lower your cholesterol or blood pressure or blood sugar or your heart disease, and you say, doctor, how long do I have to take these? What does the doctor usually say? Forever, right? It's like, I had this cartoon drawn back in the early 1980s from one of my books of doctors busily mopping up the floor around a sink that's overflowing, but nobody's reaching over to turn off the faucet. Like, how long do I have to mop up the floor? Like, forever. Like, well, why don't we just turn off the faucet? And the faucet, the underlying cause, which is, again, something I learned from the Swami. He kept saying, well, what's the cause? What's behind that? The cause of so many of these life's chronic diseases are the lifestyle choices we make each day. So, and Dr. DeBakey was really old school, and he'd say, what year are you, son? And I'd say, well, I'm starting my third year, into my second year. He goes, damn, it's going to be so much harder to bust you out of here now with these weird ideas you have. And by the way, as a digression, he called me. He was the kind of guy that would stick your fingers if you didn't move them out of the operating field fast enough, And we all wore green surgical scrub suits, and he wore a blue monogram one. It was that kind of thing. And he called me out of the blue about 3 or 4 years ago, and he said I hadn't talked to him in decades, literally since the 1970s, and he said, hey, Dean, this is Mike DeBakey. And I recognized he had a very distinctive Louisiana accent, which I recognized immediately after all these decades. I said, hello, to what do I owe this honor? He said, well, those weird ideas that I used to give you such a hard time about when you were my medical student? I said, oh, yeah, I remember really well. He goes, that's what's kept me alive all these years. He said, I'm 99 years old now. And I just wanted you to know that before I die, that my wife got interested in these kinds of things and in your work. And I just thought you'd like to know that, which I thought was a really cool thing to do.
That's amazing.
If you live long enough, you just never know.
Thanks for watching. If you like what you just saw, why not subscribe? Here's a link to do that. And if you'd like to watch the full interview, you can find it at chrisbeatcancer.com. There's a link to it in the description right below this video.